So this episode will feature what in reality of the 6-month campaign was a small skirmish. But just like I said when I first started these episodes, I was just going to film where most people have probably never heard of or actually never go, and bring some of the lesser known aspects of this campaign. So this is going to feature on August 27th, 1942, just a little known assault by the 1st Battalion of the 5th Marines engaged in this area. So I'm standing a bit of a distance from the road because I don't want the car noise to mask my narrative, I guess you could say. This is a church ground, roughly where some of the action took place. So on August 27th, the Marine General Vandergrift decided to do a reconnaissance in force. So he knew the Japanese were located west of the Guadalcanal River. The other battalion, the 1st Battalion, he directed Lieutenant Colonel Maxwell, the battalion commander, to proceed in boats and proceed westward to a place called Cucambona. And there land, in other words, it's Atlantic Cucambona, proceed east to Mechanical and return to Luma Primer on the same day. So the battalion landed unopposed, roughly about roughly where the village is, and village is probably about 2 miles down that way. So that's to the west. They proceeded down the government track. So you got to remember at the time, the 1st Battalion, the 5th Marines were a green unit. A lot of their officers and Marines were very fresh, less than a year in. I think in one of my previous episodes I mentioned how in the 7th Marines regiment, before they deployed, they took a lot of the best talent, so to speak, from the NCOs and officers and pushed them all in the 7th Marines to go to Samoa, expecting them to be the first to fight. They had Puller and Hannikin, Basilone, Page, a few of them was in that battalion or regiment. So 1-5 was pushing east along this government track, and you'll see the road now. I'll walk over here and hopefully we don't get masked out by the sound of a big truck, but yep. The road now is basically roughly the site of where the government track was. Just Port and Coconut Plantation and some of the villages, especially to the west. So the Marines are moving up 1-5. So when they were moving up this government track, it had Bravo Company on the left flank, so moving down this track here, and Charlie Company was detached up to go on those hills. The Charlie Company was having a hard time going up and down the hills there and trying to keep up with Bravo Company roughly in area meant there. So a lot of them were suffering from heat exhaustion, because you got to remember this is the roughly only 10 days after they landed, so they still need to be acclimatized. So they're moving those hills up to my right. Now this Coral Ridge line in front of me is where the Japanese had staged their ambush. So they had some mortars and machine guns and some Japanese sailors and some of the troops left over from on the airfield that had fled west was occupying this position. So you can see right in front of me, cliff comes down, government track, we'll pan to the left. You won't be able to see it here, but probably another 100 yards that way is the actual beach. So it's a natural choke point. So the lead elements of Bravo Company hit the Japanese ambush directly in front of us on the government track. They were pinned down, and Charlie Company started deploying. Charlie Company was stuck in those hills there. Since this was one of the first real fights the battalion had, due to the inexperience and lack of communication, the company commander held his troops there and did not push on with the envelopment attack. So there's confusion all around. Once Charlie Company started maneuvering their elements, they moved some of their left, I think their left platoon, they moved into try to pour on fire directly in front of us, the Japanese. And one Browning automatic rifle team consisting of PFC, Bud and Phillips, they moved up and they were caught by a burst of Japanese machine gun fire and killed roughly in front of us. In that area roughly where the locals walking down the road there. Delta Company, which was the weapons company as we know it today, the mortar started to land some suppressive fire on the ridge. Charlie didn't push through due to the loss of some unit cohesion due to heat casualties, and plus also there was no communication back to the mortars, and the company commander didn't want his troops running into a mortar fire. So Lieutenant Colonel Maxwell, the battalion commander, ordered the Marines to pull back, and he radioed the 1st Marine Division CP located back in Lunga that he wished to withdraw. Once the Major General Vandergrift, division commander, heard the news that the Lieutenant Colonel wanted to withdraw, he became very angry, it said, and rushed into the headquarters of Colonel Hunt, regimental commander of the 5th Marines, demanding that he move up this area and take charge. So regimental commander contacted the battalion commander Maxwell on the radio and basically relieved him on the spot over the radio, and he jumped into a boat, moved this area this way, landed roughly probably about 300 meters that way. Once he landed, he had the Maxwell meet him at the boat and told him to get in the boat and to go back to Lunga. Then Colonel Hunt came in and took charge. You can really see the ridge line here. So that's looking south. Pan around, the Japanese had defensive positions all through there. And we pan back down. That was the ambush point right in front of me. So I'm at the base of the ridge where the Japanese had their positions. And at the time of the battle, it would have been choked with jungle growth such as this. The top of the hill would have been barren, a coral ridge like most of the ridges are this stage. Coconut plantations, where the Marines reported, would have been in the flat area right below me. So Marines were coming in that direction. So that's basically west. Government track. They advanced. They started taking fire directly in front of me on the government track. Choke points. Over to my right there, around this trail. Probably another 100 yards. It's probably going to be noisy, so hopefully you can hear me. So I'm standing at the choke point now. You can see the ocean through those 2 buildings there. I move to my right. Government track, or the road nowadays, government track then. And you'll see the cliff there. So there's your choke point right directly in front of me, roughly that white vehicle or truck is. So the Japanese had machine guns set up in here. So I don't know how close the Marines were before they opened up on them, but I'm pretty sure I'm standing right there with the 1st Marine elements. Now you can see where the ridge has been cut off, such as truck pass. Yeah, you can see where the ridge has been cut off, so don't have the pictures of how it looked at the time, but the ridge probably went almost to the government track. So where you see that flat part of land is there, it's been cut back, it probably went to right there. So if that's the case, you got the government track here, I'll come around, and there's the ocean. So just a quick guesstimate. If it hasn't changed much from 1942, I would say maybe 150 yards. 150 yards, so they got to push a whole battalion through this. It's going to take many men to defend this. So this is the church that the 2 Marines' bodies of the graves is thought to be located on the grounds. This is a plaque the family had made, and the preacher at the time, or the priest at the time, allowed them to place it on the wall. You can see here, resting in peace on these sacred grounds, Robert J. Budd, Thomas W. Phillips, American Marines who died valiantly for their country, and it's from the Budd family. This is the front of the church. You can see how they've incorporated on the way to the, looking at the plaque, I just noticed this shell casing. And they've got some flowers in it. So they're still using the World War II stuff.
There were 4 U.S. deaths in this action. Bernie Fetchko was shot down in the initial ambush. His buddy, Wesley Simons, ran into the Japanese fire and was bringing Fetchko back when he was struck down. Both were severely wounded and evacuated. Simons died a few days later. Fetchko died the next day in a hospital. His twin brother, also a 1st Division Marine, was with him at the time. Simons received a Navy Cross posthumously for his actions.